The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Summary and Analysis. This book was written by Mark Twain, one of the most well-known American authors. He wrote it in 1884, but the story is still fresh and powerful. It's often called the first great American novel. People often think of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn as a children's book, but it is much more than that. It's about freedom, about growing up, about questioning what society teaches you, about friendship between two people who, by the rules of their world, shouldn't even be talking to each other. A little background of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Mark Twain had already written The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Huck Finn was a side character in that book. But Huck was too wild and too real to be just a sidekick, so Twain gave him his own story. This book follows Huck as he runs away from everything, his abusive father, the rules of the town, and the so-called civilized life. And while he's on the run, he meets Jim, a runaway slave. Together, they float down the Mississippi River on a raft. The river becomes their escape, but it also becomes their test. Huck's escape. Huck lives in a small town in Missouri. Everyone thinks he's just a troublemaker, but he's got a good heart. He's living with Widow Douglas and Miss Watson, who are trying to civilize him, make him proper, make him behave. He hates it. He doesn't like wearing clean clothes, he doesn't like school, and he definitely doesn't like praying before meals. Things get worse when his father, Pap, shows up. Pap is a drunk and cruel. He just wants Huck's money, the money Huck got at the end of Tom Sawyer. So Pap kidnaps Huck and takes him to a remote cabin in the woods. Huck doesn't sit and wait. He fakes his own death. That's right. He kills a pig, uses the blood to make it look like a murder, and escapes by canoe in the middle of the night. He runs away to Jackson's Island in the river. And that's where he meets Jim. Jim's journey. Jim used to be Miss Watson's slave, but he found out she was planning to sell him to someone down south, far from his family. So he ran away too. This part is important. At the time this book was set, before the Civil War, slavery was legal in Missouri. Helping a runaway slave was a crime. But Huck decides not to turn Jim in. At first, they are just two runaways hiding in the same place. But then they start talking. They cook together, they watch the stars, they laugh, they start to trust each other. And soon, they are flowing down the river together on a raft, heading toward freedom. The river and the world. The Mississippi River is more than just water. It becomes a symbol of freedom. On the raft, Huck and Jim are equals. There is no master or slave there. Just two people trying to live. But the river can't protect them forever. They face dangers, steamboats, storms, thieves, con artists, and angry mobs. Sometimes they get separated. Sometimes they lose everything and have to start again. Each new town they stop at shows them how twisted the world really is. Huck starts to question everything he's been taught. Is helping Jim wrong, like the adults say? Or is slavery wrong? This is where the book gets powerful. At one point, Huck and Jim pick up two con men. One says he's a duke, the other claims to be a king. They are frauds. They lie, cheat, and rob people. And Huck sees right through them. But he plays along. Why? Because life on the raft is safer than on land. As long as the duke and king are around, Huck and Jim can stay under the radar. Still, these two crooks bring nothing but trouble. The worst of it comes when they try to steal an inheritance from three orphaned sisters. Huck has had enough. He tells the truth. He wants to do the right thing, even if it means going to hell. That line is one of the most famous parts of the book. Huck writes a letter to Miss Watson, telling her where Jim is so she can get him back. But then he looks at the letter, thinks about their journey, and says to himself, "All right, then, I'll go to hell." He rips the letter up. He chooses Jim. The test of loyalty. Later, Jim gets captured. He is locked up in a small shack, waiting to be sent back into slavery. Huck could leave, but he doesn't. He decides to rescue Jim. Coincidentally, Huck ends up at a farm of Tom Sawyer's relatives. They mistake him for Tom, who is expected to arrive soon. Huck plays along. Then Tom shows up, and Huck quickly tells him everything. Tom, always in love with drama, agrees to help on one condition. They have to do it the right way. Tom comes up with a ridiculous escape plan that involves digging holes with spoons, baking messages into pies, and even sneaking snakes into Jim's hut. Huck finds it silly, but he goes along. Why? Because Tom is his friend. Eventually, they do manage to break Jim out, but Tom gets shot in the leg during the escape. Jim could have run, but he stays and helps the wounded Tom, even though it means getting caught again. The act proves what kind of person Jim really is. In the end, Tom recovers and reveals a big secret. Miss Watson had already died and set Jim free in her will. Jim was legally free all along. Huck is stunned. He feels a strange mix of relief, anger, and guilt. But there is one more twist. Pap, Huck's father, is dead. So Huck no longer has to live in fear. He is safe, but he doesn't want to be part of civilized life again. He doesn't want to go back to rules and religion and clean clothes. So he makes a decision. He decides to go west. He wants freedom, not just for Jim, for himself too. Why the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn still resonates with readers. This isn't just a book about boys on a raft. It's a book about growing up in a broken world and learning how to fix yourself. Huck learns to listen to his heart, not to adults, not to laws, not even to religion, but to what he feels is right. That's not easy, especially when everything around you says you are wrong. Jim becomes more than just a character. He becomes a symbol of human dignity. He is not perfect, but he is kind, brave, and deeply loyal. And the friendship between Huck and Jim, it's one of the most honest relationships in all of literature. It's built on survival, on shared meals, on laughter, on fear, on sacrifice. Yes, the book has some uncomfortable parts. There are words in it we don't use today, for example the N-word or Indians for Native American Indians. There are moments that show deep racism. But that's the point. Mark Twain didn't hide those things. He held up a mirror to his world, and it still reflects ours. By the end of the book, Huck is no longer a boy who just plays tricks and avoids school. He is someone who has wrestled with the hardest question a young person can face. What do I do when the world is wrong? And his answer? You follow your heart, even if it means going to hell. That's what makes this book special. It's not just about escaping down a river. It's about finding your own compass when the one everyone gives you is broken. The story ends, but Huck's journey doesn't. He is heading out west into the unknown. And maybe that's where the rest of us need to go too. Not to the west literally, but toward a freer version of ourselves. Away from the fake rules, away from cruelty, away from everything that tells us to sit still and obey. Because the real freedom doesn't come from running away. It comes from choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. And that's what Huck Finn teaches us. What is the central theme of the book? The central theme of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is the conflict between conscience and society. Huck's journey down the Mississippi River isn't just physical, it's moral. Over and over, he is forced to choose between what he feels in his heart and what he's been taught is right. Society tells him that slavery is normal, that helping a runaway slave is wrong, that he should turn Jim in. But Huck's heart says otherwise. He wrestles with guilt. He thinks he's a bad person for helping Jim. He even writes a letter to turn him in. But when the time comes, he rips up the letter and says, "All right, then, I'll go to hell." This moment shows Huck choosing his conscience over society's rules. Other themes support this main one. Freedom. Huck runs from his abusive father. Jim runs from slavery. The raft becomes a symbol of escape. But real freedom means thinking for yourself. Friendship and loyalty. Huck and Jim form a deep bond even though society says they shouldn't. Their friendship is quiet, honest, and life-saving. Racism and hypocrisy. Twain shows how people who claimed to be good Christians owned slaves. He mocks the idea of civilization that allowed cruelty in the name of tradition. So yes, the book is about adventure, but more than that, it's about a boy learning to listen to his inner voice even when it goes against everything he has been told. The main characters of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Huckleberry Finn, Huck. Huck is the narrator and the heart of the story. He is a young boy, probably around 13 or 14. He grows up in a world full of rules, lies, and hypocrisy. He doesn't trust society, and for good reason. Grown-ups have always let him down. He is smart, but not in a school kind of way. He thinks deeply, questions what he has been told, and follows his own sense of right and wrong. As he travels down the Mississippi River, he learns more about kindness, courage, and injustice than any classroom could teach. Huck is rough around the edges, but he has one of the purest hearts in all of literature. Jim. Jim is a black man who escapes from slavery and becomes Huck's companion on the river. At first, Huck sees Jim as Miss Watson's property, but over time, he sees him for who he truly is, a kind, gentle, brave human being. Jim loves his family, he misses them. He's superstitious at times, but also wise in a way Huck comes to admire. Jim sacrifices his own freedom more than once, for Huck and even for others. Through Jim, Twain shows how wrong slavery is, not just in theory, but in the way it crushes good people. Jim's loyalty, warmth, and strength leave a lasting impact on Huck and on us. Tom Sawyer. Tom is Huck's friend from the earlier book, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. He shows up in the second half of this story. Tom is clever and full of wild ideas, but he treats life like a game. When Huck wants to free Jim quickly and quietly, Tom insists on turning it into an elaborate prison escape, just like in adventure novels. He means well, but he doesn't take things seriously until it's too late. He puts everyone in danger just for fun. Tom represents the romantic, unrealistic version of boyhood, while Huck represents a more honest and grounded view of the world. Pap Finn. Pap is Huck's alcoholic, violent father. He disappears for a long time, but returns to take Huck's money and control his life. He kidnaps Huck and locks him up in a cabin. Pap is racist, bitter, and selfish. He hates education and mocks the government. Twain uses Pap to show the worst of white society. Someone who is legally free, yet meaner and more broken than Jim, who is enslaved. Pap doesn't care about Huck at all. He's not just a bad father. He's a symbol of everything Huck wants to escape from. The Duke and the King. These two con men join Huck and Jim on the raft, pretending to be European royalty. The Duke claims to be the long-lost son of a noble family, and the King says he is the son of King Louis XVI. They are both liars and thieves. They scam people in every town they visit, and they drag Huck and Jim into one mess after another. But they are also sad and pathetic in a way. They show what happens when people live by lives for too long. Eventually, their greed and cruelty catch up with them, and Huck is glad to be rid of them. Miss Watson. Miss Watson is one of the two women trying to civilize Huck at the beginning of the book. She is strict, religious, and always talking about doing the right thing, but she owns Jim and plans to sell him. Twain uses her to show the hypocrisy of people who claim to be moral but treat other human beings like property. In the end, she does the right thing. She sets Jim free in her will, but by then, the damage is already done. Widow Douglas. Widow Douglas is kinder and more patient than Miss Watson. She takes Huck in and tries to give him a proper home. She wants him to go to school, wear clean clothes, and follow religion. Huck appreciates her efforts but feels trapped by her version of civilization. Widow Douglas means well, but she represents the world Huck is trying to run from, the world of rules that don't always make sense. Important questions about the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. How does Mark Twain use Huck's narration to shape the reader's understanding of morality? Huck tells the story in his own voice, using simple, direct language. We see his thoughts as they form. This lets us witness his moral growth in real time. Instead of preaching to us, Twain lets Huck's choices, especially his decision to help Jim, show how morality can come from the heart, not from rules. In what way does the Mississippi River act as a symbol in the novel? The river is freedom. For Huck, it's freedom from his father and the rules of society. For Jim, it's freedom from slavery. On the raft, the two are equals, but the river is also unpredictable. Storms, fog, and dangerous encounters remind us that freedom comes with risks. How does Twain expose the hypocrisy of civilized society? He shows us good Christians who own slaves, judges who protect violent men, and townships who fall for obvious scams. Through satire and irony, Twain makes us question whether society's version of right is truly right at all. What role does friendship play in Huck's moral development? Huck starts by seeing Jim as property. Over time, he comes to see him as a friend, and even as family. The friendship forces Huck to confront his own beliefs and choose loyalty to Jim over obedience to the law, even to the extent of being ready to go to hell. Compare Huck and Tom Sawyer's approaches to life. What does this tell us about each character? Huck is practical and focused on survival. Tom is imaginative but unrealistic, often treating serious situations as games. Huck grows through experience. Tom hides in make-believe. Twain uses them as opposite to highlight Huck's moral maturity. How does the novel address the idea of moral education? Huck's moral education doesn't come from school or church. It comes from lived experience. The more time he spends with Jim, the more he learns about empathy, fairness, and courage. Twain suggests that real moral growth often happens outside formal institutions. Why is the scene where Huck decides, "I'll go to hell" so important? It's the climax of Huck's moral journey. He chooses Jim's freedom over what society says is right, even believing it will cost him his soul. It's a rejection of corrupt morality and an embrace of his own conscience. Why you would like to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn? You would want to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn because it's not just a story about a boy on a raft. It's a story about questioning the world around you. Huck is young, but he sees the cracks in the rules adults live by. As you follow him down the Mississippi River, you see him wrestle with big questions. What's right? What's wrong? Who decides? It's a book that makes you think without sounding like a lecture. It's also an adventure in the truest sense. Huck and Jim face storms, conmen, dangerous towns, and near escapes. But the real thrill is in the moments between, floating under the stars, cooking by the riverbank, talking about dreams. Twain's writing makes you feel the river's calm and its dangers. You don't just read it, you live it. And then there is the friendship. Huck and Jim start as two people running from different cages, but they end up changing each other. It's raw, it's honest, and it makes you want to root for them no matter what the law says. By the time you finish, you're not just reading about Huck's search for freedom, you're thinking about your own. Why you may not want to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn? Personally, I don't see any valid reason. It has a tight plot. You may find the appearance of the N-word more than 200 times offensive, but that's how people spoke in the 1800s. I don't judge people living in different centuries by the standards of today. Also, the Duke and King episodes can be boring and repetitive. Sometimes you feel that Mark Twain is just wandering around trying to stretch the story needlessly. In the end, Tom Sawyer turns Jim's rescue into a childish game. You may feel that the book trivializes a serious matter. Other than these, if you are looking for some good classical literature, there is no reason why you shouldn't read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Have you liked the summary and analysis of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn? If yes, please like the video and subscribe to my channel so that you get a notification when I upload my next video.